Hello, YouTube family. Welcome to my channel, Wing Spiritual Clarity. My name is Wendy Wing. So glad that you're here. You are very welcome here. Thank you for all your likes, comments, and shares so I can grow this channel. I really appreciate each one of you as this is a co-creative experience. So let's co-create an amazing reading filled with clarity, support, guidance, so we can each of us walk away from this reading being more aligned with our souls, with our soul and our soul purpose. So, all right, I like those intentions. Let's look at the overall energy of this reading is the Nine of Swords in reverse. It looks like there's a lot of fears coming up, a lot of anxiety. It feels like when the Nine of Swords is upright, this is a never-ending nightmare. You wake up from a nightmare and you're living a living nightmare. It's so uncomfortable, but not uncomfortable enough that this person is willing to do something about the situation, because there's this pillow, there's a little semblance of comfort. And so this person thinks, well, I've got this pillow, so I'm afraid that if I make changes and do something about this nightmare situation, that it could get worse. That's the fear and anxiety talking. So what do we need to know about the Nine of Swords in reverse? This is a lot coming out. It looks like you're tired of being stuck in one place and not making moves, of feeling like you have to guard against the people in your environment. Okay, there's why. You don't want to fight with the people closest to you. The type of conflict that leads to someone winning and someone losing, someone getting an advantage over the other person. It looks like you're wanting, conflict is pretty inevitable. We came here to bump up against people and ideas and learn about ourselves, kind of like the Hadron Collider. So molecules colliding, and that gives information. And so it looks like you learn about who you are and through these conflicts. But it looks like you've had childhood trauma that's been very difficult to overcome. It's kind of started you off unbalanced, out of alignment, this childhood wounding, and it created a lot of beliefs that you're not good enough, and a lot of abandonment. You might have experienced abuse, yes, neglect for sure. And it feels like to survive your childhood, you had to abandon parts of yourself to fit into this family. Feels like all you ever really wanted is to be loved and celebrated and cared for, and it feels like it's very difficult with the beliefs that you had being in your childhood. But it looks like eventually you started letting go of these limiting beliefs and worked through a lot of emotional pain and a lot of confusion, because a lot of information was hidden from you by your unhealed wounds. It looks like others were able to take advantage of your woundedness. it looks like once you started seeing this, that you stopped neglecting yourself. I think that's one of the main lessons that you've been learning in this lifetime, is not to abandon yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. And so it feels like putting yourself back together again, unscattering your energy, centering yourself in your experience instead of centering the people in your environment. Wow. All right, the hidden blessings is the Chariot. This is someone who's very adept at overcoming obstacles. The Chariot rider doesn't have reins. And so they're utilizing their white and dark energy, their unconscious energy and conscious energy, to drive them towards what they want and overcoming whatever is in the way. This is co-creating with the universe. This feels like magically overcoming obstacles. Some of you might be making moves. Some of you might be moving. Definitely moving forward. It feels like acceleration. It feels very magical. It feels like someone who understands how to navigate. Now that there's a clear belief system about how to find alignment, it feels like the byproduct of alignment is just success. Interesting. Okay, so this feels like behind the scenes, people, feels like you're keeping your moves hidden. This navigation, this making moves, it's under what's hidden, and it feels like people come in and they take their fears and project them onto you. I'm seeing this as not a bad thing. Hear me out. You might have some low-grade anxiety and fears that you might be ignoring, not wanting to make them bigger. Someone comes up and they communicate their fears, and it activates your fears about whatever direction you're heading. It feels like this is someone who is unintentionally, I don't feel that this is necessarily intentional, but this person is projecting fears onto whatever you are creating, whatever move you're making. And I think there's a appreciation, like, yeah, I have been feeling anxious, but it doesn't mean it's real or it's something to worry about. It's something to address. Like, yeah, I have been feeling anxious. This person is showing up to show me that I have some anxiety to work through. And instead of ignoring it and hoping that it will go away, I don't know if you've recognized that that doesn't work. There's holding space and being like, yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. I'm making big moves, and but this is not my fear. Some of this is that person's fear, and I'll just give that back to them. It's not my energy. But yeah, it feels like there's worries, and it's okay. Once you accept how you feel, then you can shift that energy, then you can transmute it. But if you ignore it and wait until it builds up, and then it's a lot to process. So just a little hidden helpful hint. Hopefully that will help you as you're making moves, to not allow these fears. These fears are coming up not to stop you from making this progress or making these moves, but coming up so you can address them, so you can feel them and shift. I think you're realizing what fears are fears in the environment, something that you need to address versus something that's an internal fear that you are working through. Wow. All right. What you're leaving behind is the Strength card in reverse. Yeah, you're leaving behind a lack of confidence, insecurities, a woundedness, leaving behind also victim mode, stories where you are the victim, where people have taken advantage of you, leaving that story behind. This reminds me, so I was a dog trainer at one point when I was in the psychic closet and not telling anybody that I was psychic or had these skills because of a lot of personal reasons. So anyway, as a dog trainer, I worked with dogs with emotional issues, with reactivity, aggression, and mostly it was training the owner, the dog's owner. There's a little training that goes into that, but there were so many owners who have this story about their dog, this sad victim story, and it might be true, but after 5 years, it's time to let that story go, because you keep putting that person kept putting that limited victim story on their dog, and their dog couldn't climb through these projections of woundedness, even though they are not that same dog. And so I'd say that's the last time I ever want to hear that story. Can you let that story go? Because I don't see a story of, he was on the roadside and he was so hurt. This is true, but it's not helping. 5 years later, it is continuing this wounded, and also I was a hero because I saved this dog. And that's why a lot of times the person wanted to keep the story going, because it makes them the hero instead of allowing the dog to be the hero. So I was like, let's change the story and make it still real. This is my 5-year-old dog, and he's amazing every day. The shifts and changes, and showing me how capable and how much of a desire to live and grow. And I'm dedicated to, so we can have connection, and that we can cooperate and work together, and we can support each other and have a wonderful time. That's a story that doesn't project a limiting view onto others. And it feels like you might want to look at your own energy around how you project a story, and how you're needing to be either the hero or victim, or needing others to view you in some certain way, might be holding you back from just the freedom of being yourself and allowing others to be themselves as well. Wow. All right. Moving on to how to get the most of this energy. Learning something new. Starting over. This has like a new timeline. Creating something new for yourself. Learning something new. It looks like you're done with planning. You're ready to move out. That's also with that Chariot card. It feels like you've been strategizing, and now you're ready to take action. You're very head over heart in regards to this. It looks like you're leaving behind that old energy of giving your power away to someone who lords over you and needs you to disregard the truth to be in a relationship. It feels like you're leaving behind someone who co-created with you a delusional relationship where you had to feed their ego and tell them they're wonderful because they couldn't handle the truth. And so, but you were also like really attached to this, and it feels like you were in lesson. And this person is very emotionally immature. Feels like you're leaving behind emotional instability, being able to be controlled through your emotions. That's what this is. So it looks like you are very cautious and careful about how you feel instead of ignoring how you feel, because in the past that's how people have been able to take advantage of your woundedness to control and manipulate you through your wounds and fears. Wow. It looks like you're very focused on a new opportunity. I'm curious about this new opportunity. Anything more about this possible new? It's new. It's interesting. So this new opportunity, oh, this is karmic. Okay. The new opportunity is justice for whatever you're letting go of. It feels like you're letting go of groups of people who are just stuck in this kind of hopeless energy of mental and emotional manipulation. It looks like you are leaving that behind, and that's helping you. It's like the more you leave that energy and separate from it, then the more aligned you become. And just as a byproduct of alignment, you have justice, you have new energies coming in. Wow. All right, what's supporting you right now is the Ace of Wands in reverse. A lack of spark, a lack of desire. It looks like you're following your heart right now. I think by following your heart, I get the feeling this Ace of Wands is like you can't see. There's no light. There's not even a spark. And so you're right now, it's hard. And in personal readings as well, this has been showing up that if you are accustomed to kind of intuiting from these chakras, having clarity about where you're going, but right now you're like, I can't see. I feel very stuck in the fog. It's the navigation I've found is in your lower chakras right now. Learning how to feel your way through a situation, going towards what feels good for your heart, for your body, for your emotions, allowing your lower chakras to choose what feels good instead of the higher chakras. Hope that makes sense. It's been coming up again and again in personal readings. So that might be something that you're needing help, guidance. So hope that is helpful. All right. What to be mindful of in this energy is the Ten of Swords in reverse. It does feel like there are a lot of fears and anxieties, a lot of heightened fears. Feels like you're ending that cycle where someone could say something and it would really throw you. Feels like in the past you were so sensitive that I just can't hear, I can't allow anyone to say anything to activate something in my space. So it feels like you might have been trying to avoid, like there's a misunderstanding around how to expand, how to grow. And it looks like you are now facing your fears instead of allowing your fears to dictate how you move and how you show up. Wow, that's beautiful. It's taken a lot to get to this spot. Yeah. This definitely has Phoenix rising from the ashes. And with that, I'm getting messages of just because something has happened in the past does not mean it's going to happen in the future. You are starting over from a new point of view, from a new vantage point, from a new frequency. You're showing yourself how to navigate, and it looks like there's also some advice here about being careful with your finances. Just not being cautious with your finances right now, and they're making moves, moving to calmer waters, moving on, moving. So, all right, that's your reading. I hope that's helpful. Thank you all again so much for co-creating these messages. Take care.